If you've watched or listened to my podcast before, you will detect in this interview that perhaps I have never sounded so nervous in the asking of questions as I did here, because as I brought on Sunil Agrawal, I just was struck by the scope of what he has built. Sunil has built a $400 million per year publicly traded holding company with 6 brands in the portfolio, the largest of which is $240 million on its own. It's all jewelry and fashion accessories, an unbelievable scope of what he's doing. And he gave us an hour of his time. Remarkably, this content is free to talk about what has led to the success that he has experienced. And we got to boil that down into a few things. The reason I would think I was nervous about this was not anything about the way Sunil presents. In fact, he comes across incredibly gentle and kind and humble in everything he does, but because I was just nervous that I wasn't going to take the conversation to the right places so that you could get the most out of this time as a watcher or listener. You can decide for yourself if that's the case, but here's what I know after conducting the interview. I feel like I learned a ton from this conversation, particularly about how I carry myself and think about my role as a leader each and every day. This is a monster business run by an incredible CEO who's built something like almost nobody in this space over a longer time period than almost anybody else. Let's lock in. Let's get to it. I shouldn't delay it anymore. Sunil Agrawal, the founder and CEO of VGL Group and Shop LC. Let's get to it. Sunil, thank you so much for your time. I've really been looking forward to this conversation. I have admired you from a distance for a while without knowing tons and tons about your business. And so when we connected it recently in Montana, I was very grateful that you said yes to taking some time. So I know you got plenty to do, so thanks for taking the time.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, Sunil, let's give some people some context for your businesses. So Shop LC is like the headline business that I think people would know you for or would see the biggest. It's the biggest of the businesses in your portfolio. But, and I said it in the intro, $240 million a year. That number is not only something that you're generous to share, but it's publicly traded. So it's all public information. As part of VGL Group, can you give the basic overview of what your brand, like the sort of portfolio looks like right now for VGL Group, and maybe a quick comment about any of that you want to sort of focus on, but give a little overview of what you're working with.
Sure. So total 6 brands. Shop LC is US brand that does $240 million a year. The next biggest is UK. So we do about UK, we do over $100 million amongst 3 brands in UK. And Germany does about $30 million. And about $20 million is a wholesale revenue that we sell to other D2C players. Because we have manufacturing in India, so we manufacture jewelry and fashion jewelry, fine jewelry, that we sell to many different retailers all over the world.
And it's jewelry and lifestyle, like some fashion accessories beyond jewelry, across the entire portfolio, all 6 brands?
A couple of brands are only jewelry. One brand is only lifestyle, and 3 brands are mixed jewelry and lifestyle.
Okay. Yeah. So all in that space. So you've got jewelry dialed at this point. I understand exactly how to sell it. And then within that too, like I know that there's a mix of stuff that you guys are making yourselves as a brand, and then also doing some retailing for other brands as well. Can you speak to that a little bit? Sort of how much of the maybe at the level of the holding company of the 400 million, like, or really whatever level you want, sort of how much of it is stuff that you guys are actually manufacturing and sourcing yourselves versus how much is stuff that you're getting from third party companies?
About 60% is what we manufacture in our facility in India. So we have many factories in India. We employ about 2,500 people in India, making right from gemstone cutting to designing to making jewelry. Largely for our own 6 brands, but also to some for other retailers, US, Japan, Europe. And the rest of the 40% we source from China, Thailand, Indonesia. There's our own sourcing units, but we also source from countries like Bangladesh, Korea, Turkey, Italy, many different countries.
I have a lot of questions. I mean, you told me when we were talking before that you on the one hand, you've got Shop LC at this monster 240. You've got another business that you started yourself, like from scratch in the midst of that as a brand, and everything in between. And so that means you started while having this monster Shop LC, you also started another business from zero. I think that's a fascinating thing on its own. But I want to actually start sort of from the beginning here, because I just recently recorded an episode of my podcast just talking about, I think, the sort of importance of reasonable expectations. And one of the things I actually fear right away bringing you on is that people are going to almost feel like they're not doing enough, big enough, fast enough, because here's Sunil with his $240 million business or whatever. And, as a part of a $400 million holding company, publicly traded, all those things. But you started this business, the holding company, at least, in what year? 1980? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was 20 years at the time when I started this, and it was gemstones. So I I didn't have money at the time, so I borrowed some gemstones, went to Hong Kong, went door to door, and just started that and got lucky. Got some good clients and some good business colleagues who joined me in the company. And
so you borrowed the gemstone? Like, did somebody say, sure, like essentially you were selling them on consignment, basically?
Yeah. So they gave me on consignment. If I sell, I pay them money. If I don't, I give them the stones back. So they were kind. So they gave me the stones, and I went to Hong Kong, took the flight, went to Hong Kong, and just went door to door. Every jewelry store in Hong Kong Central District, I knocked on the door and went in and showed my stuff. And some people took a liking to the product that I had and bought from me and ordered, and that's how I started the journey.
Did you, in those days, think I am trying to build a very large business? Like, how clear in your mind, as best as you can remember, that was 45 years ago, how clear in your mind were you that you wanted to build a big business versus like, this is a thing to make money in the short term? Like,
I was a bit of ambitious, but I didn't know what size I could make or what it entails to make a big business. I had no idea. So you go where the ambition keeps you going, keeps you experimenting, testing, course correcting. So many times, there were tough times and learning times, but all of those difficult times were opportunity to learn something new and just go on.
So it wasn't like you had a very clear idea that you were trying to build something big, but would you say you were always ambitious?
Yeah, I was always ambitious. Wanted to do something meaningful with life, wanted to make impact, and so not just impact, but also make a good living, a good kind of financial freedom. So that was in my mind. Do something meaningful, and God has been kind.
Yeah. Do you in the midst of that, if we sort of jump ahead to where things are at right now, how much of the businesses are, well, actually, let's go to 2007, because 2007 is when you start Shop LC. And Shop LC is a really interesting business to me because you have this mix of, I know some meta ads, D2C kind of stuff is in there, but really like a TV first brand, so far as I can tell. So how did Shop LC start in the midst of this? Because that's sort of the headline asset in the portfolio right now.
Well, we were selling to TV networks like QVC, JTV, HSN. So we had the understanding of how the business works, the product works, how the business works. And so we started first in 2006 in UK, TV network, and then 2007 in the US. So understanding the business from a seller point of view, coming from other side, the retailer point of view, it seemed easy initially. It was not. So I had my tough time initially. And in 2007, but right before global financial crisis in 2008, 2009.
I didn't think about that.
It was pretty tough. But during that tough environment, we figured out a deep discount model. And we being vertical, we could serve to that audience who are looking for deep value. And that model continues till today.
So let's talk about that model a little bit, because I think it is interesting. You guys you call it a deep discount model. Can you just walk through what you mean by that phrase?
Yeah, so average price point for our product is generally much lower than QVC or other competitors. So QVC, HSN, JTV. So we may be about just a little over half of their average price point. So that gives customer a perception of value. Although margin-wise, we may be equal or better than them, but the margin also is a factor of us being vertical. But just to give an example, every Friday, everything we sell on our TV is under $10, $10 less. So we sell a huge number of pieces that day. And every Tuesday, everything's under $50. Other days could be mixed price point, but those 2 days gives a lot of value perception to watchers or customers.
And at the same time, though, you guys have like headline pieces that are like, multiple $1,000s pieces of jewelry, right? So like all is part of the same business. I think a lot of people would look at something like jewelry and they would say, oh, you can't be discount heavy. You can't be promotional. It's going to ruin the brand or whatever. But you guys are selling things where, like you said, every Friday it's under $10. And at the same time, you've got other pieces that are, multiple $1,000s, fine jewelry. How do you sort of, did you guys have a fear that you were going to be too promotional, or was it from the beginning? Like there is actually no tension there. People think there's a tension, but there's not. Like, how have you guys sort of resolved that?
I had no idea of how the brand perception would be. So when we were in 2007, when we launched, and in 2008-9, during global financial crisis, we were trying everything that could work to make this business work. So we were at $150 average price point. In 2008, 2009, we went down to $20 average price point, and that worked. And from there on, we just started testing with different price point, mixing the price point, higher, medium, low, and it just worked. There was a fear. Sometimes our board, sometimes our advisor would say that you may be devaluing the brand or you may be confusing the customer by mixing the price point. But we felt that this worked, having the mix of price point from $10 up to $10,000. So it creates a value perception to start with, and also creates aspirational aspect to the customer. They see $10,000, even some pieces that we have $30,000, $40,000 dollars as well. We don't sell many of them, but we have them in inventory that shows customer the aspirational value of the brand. So looking at all the mix together, it's working.
That's interesting. So you think there's sort of like a brand shine that happens from having more expensive pieces, even if you're moving those, and of course you're moving them less often, right? There's just less people who could afford that kind of thing. People are going to take longer to make that decision, all those kinds of things. But by having both together, that's super interesting.
One thing I'll tell you, Andrew, when customers trusting you, especially in TV shopping business, I'm sure that's the same in e-com as well. When customers trust you, they are open to buy higher price points from you as well. Because initially they buy $10, $20, $50 product, and then they show it around to the friends, families, and some of the customers go to the local jewelers, get them appraised, and usually appraisals comes much, much higher than what they bought for. And once they develop the trust, then they go in for a higher price point later. They don't enter at a higher price point.
It's funny, though, because a lot of people would tell you that sort of the opposite is true, which is that essentially getting somebody, acquiring a customer who's a low-priced customer is never going to become a high-priced customer. That would be like a sort of common piece of wisdom. And what I'm wondering as you're telling that story is the dynamic you're describing specific to jewelry, where people would be willing to do that because of that, especially with there's like literally an appraisal value you're talking about, where somebody can actually figure out how far their money went in the process and some of that. Because I just know, like people will say, oh, if you get bad customers, they're going to be, they're never going to spend real money with you or something like that.
Yeah. So maybe the TV business is different than totally pure D2C. So it could be, I don't know. But on TV, we acquire a lot of customers under $10 a day, under $50 a day. And those customers we see go and on to buy a higher price point. Not all, but a good portion of those customers buy higher price points later. Now, the same behavior, is it true in D2C? We've tested lower price point only in D2C. Some of them do go buy higher price point, but the overall ROI or overall ROAS on the customers hasn't proven that yet for us in D2C.
So there may be something to the TV specific audience here?
Could very well be. So we don't have strong evidence that this exactly works. This works in D2C also. We don't have that evidence.
Have you across? Go ahead.
We're testing it though. We're testing it extensively. launching new products D2C on Meta, on AppLovin, and see how the lifetime value of the customer is. Versus we also launching high price point and seeing what is their lifetime value and trying to see mix and match and make it work.
There is a reason that literally every one of my clients is using INTELLIGEMS, and that's because it is the ultimate CRO tool, really profit optimization tool for e-commerce brands that are serious about getting the most value for their business out of each and every website session that happens. And INTELLIGEMS helps you do that by helping you set up and measure the right kinds of tests, the right kinds of ways. What I mean by that is there are certainly some kinds of tests that you need to have to use a tool like INTELLIGEMS for that are very simple CRO tests, right? You got 2 landing pages, you want to see which one's going to perform better than the other. And so you set up a CRO test. INTELLIGEMS can help you do that. It will help you measure it at the level of profit per visit, not just conversion rate optimization or something like that. It will actually tie into your COGS data and tell you which control or variant is generating, again, not just a better conversion rate, but actual profit. And that is the kind of simple test that INTELLIGEMS makes extremely easy, extremely fast, and you should definitely use it for that. But it goes so much beyond that, and that's really what you should be thinking about it for. Where should you be setting your free shipping threshold? What should your site-wide offer be for percentage off for new visitors? Should you be trying a deep discounting strategy like Sunil is talking about in this episode for his brands? You could test all of those kinds of things. Price itself. You can be testing all those things for your brand by using INTELLIGEMS. INTELLIGEMS is fast and easy to set up. You do not even need a developer. You can get up and going and testing with it pretty much right away. And it's just become one of those tools that I just can't imagine a serious e-commerce business being without. It's a core part of what great brands are doing to grow their businesses by generating more profit per visitor, like I said. And again, by measuring it the right way, all the way down to the COGS data on the products that people are buying. So go get INTELLIGEMS today. You can get 20% off your first 3 months by going to intelligems.io and using the code FARRIS20. That's FARIS 20. Only one R in there. Intelligems.io, FARRIS20. Go check out INTELLIGEMS today. Across your 6 brands, do you guys take this deep discount strategy for all of them?
We show value perception on all of them.
Yeah.
We can, because we show our factory photos, videos, our TV host going onto the studio, going to the factory floor and getting the piece done by themselves, and how the stone is cut, how the design is made, how the jewelry is made. So we show it again and again. And we have our host crew go to the mine area, different part of the world, or say the pearl farm, or to the silk market, or the bag market in China, or to the gemstone mine in Tanzania, Madagascar, Mexico, within US. So that crew goes there and creates a value perception of direct from source and creates a deep value perception for the customer.
I'm interested in the deep discount element of this because of how much this is something I know operators really they have anxiety about. Sort of the notion of like, if I give discounts, it'll attract discount customers for forever. And I'm certain that train of logic is real in some businesses, that it actually does create some kind of value loss over time. I know you've done lots of other coaching for other businesses and sort of been a mentor to other people and looked in plenty of non-jewelry businesses and stuff too. I'm curious if you have a perspective, like, should more businesses approach value communication and deep discounting the way that you guys are doing it? Or do you think there's something unique about jewelry here?
At $400 million, we are a fraction of the market size. The market size is huge. And we are not Cartier. We are not Tiffany. So we believe that the value segment, the perception value segment, is pretty large. And we are much smaller market share than we can probably get to. I do not know where we'll go, but there's a lot of market to be had in value segment. Now, we do sell $10,000, $20,000 product as well, but our customer likes value. They like the appraisals we send to them. They like to brag to their friends and families, they got this piece for $10,000, but the appraisal I got for this is $30,000, $25,000, $30,000. And that works for us. even though our margin wise, we make 60% plus margin. So it's not that we are, we are at 20 margin. And maybe many D2C players are at 80 margin. So I understand there's a 20% delta between other D2C player and us. But even at 60% margin, we are far, far cheaper than the brands out there, whether it's Cartier or Tiffany or Van Cleef. We are much, much lower for similar specs. We are 1/10 or 1/15 of the price what they sell for.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, one of the things I hear in that answer is sort of like, I don't know, there's plenty of value customers to be had. You've got a $400 million business. Like, it's like, how big do you want your business to be? Like, it's almost like sometimes I think there's a sort of anxiety that D2C operators have about their brand or something like that, that is just sort of out of touch with how small they really are. Just like there's plenty of market to be had in all these different things. So yes, maybe it's true that like massive global companies have to be really worried about discounting or something like that to devalue their customers. And some, I don't know if you're the Gap or something like that, and you're like a huge, whatever fashion company but for the average D2C brand doing $20 million or something like that in revenue. And that's actually not the average brand. That brand is doing great. A $20 million business is a very impressive business. It's like, yeah, stop concerning yourself so much over this. And if you're generating value for your customers and maintaining a margin that works for your business, just do it. I'm a little bit putting words in your mouth, and you may not want to say it the way I just said it, but yeah, that's a little bit of how I interpret what you said. I don't know if you have any response to that.
Every brand has their own perception, and every brand owner must go with what feels right to them. Because if they'll be successful only if they're authentic. So I go with what I believe to be my perception of the market. And my perception is the value segment. Look at Walmart, look at Shein, look at Temu, how big they are. So we are a small subsection of what they are doing. Just in jewelry, Walmart is one of the biggest retailers in the world, biggest jeweler in the world. But they're all value, right? So in that sense, if we are giving value or creating a value perception for a brand, we have a long way to go.
We are getting to the time of year where your customer service tickets are about to reach their all-time high, and that means your costs are also about to reach their all-time high with your customer service help desk provider. And that's why you should switch right now to RICHPANEL. RICHPANEL is an AI-first customer service help desk piece of software that promises you that if you switch from Gorgeous or from Zendesk, they will save you at least 30% on your bill. And again, that 30% is going to look the biggest for many brands in the next few months as we round into holiday season here. RICHPANEL does not just promise you lower prices, they also promise you a great experience. They do that with an incredible self-help service portal that sees an average of a 30% reduction in tickets because customers find answers to the questions that they need fast and easy. They also have an AI comment interactor tool that can automate interactions on Facebook ads for you and on Instagram ads. I've been in the Facebook and Instagram ad game for a long time, over 10 years. This has been an annoyance for everybody the entire time I've been in it. Like interacting with comments has just never been a great way to do it. RICHPANEL does an incredible job of doing that for you, and they do that without AI slop. Like the AI agent does a really, really good job. And in all of that, they also promise a 2-week transition time for your brand to switch over to RICHPANEL because they know you need to get up fast, and they know that at the same time, you don't have time to waste on switching over and training customer service agents on new software. So RICHPANEL promises to make that easy for you. Go to richpanel.com to get started with RICHPANEL today, richpanel.com to get started today. Really great piece of software. I've got multiple clients using it. You should check it out today. You talked a little bit about how part of this is made possible because you're vertical and because of you guys manufacture and source a lot of your own products. Can you speak to that a little bit? How much of an advantage is that for you? And is that what you guys have always done? I can't imagine it was from the beginning, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, so I started as a gemstone dealer when I was 20. And then we went vertical into jewelry manufacturing. That was about 29 years ago. And that's when I took the company public, raised just a couple of $1 million when I went public in India. And that money I used to set up jewelry manufacturing and started selling to QVC, HSN, Walmart. Was selling to Fred Meyers and Whitehall Jewelers, pretty much all retailers, large retailers in US, UK, Japan. So we have that background right from the beginning. And we took advantage of that background when we went D2C in 2006 in UK. And that worked for us. For a lot of companies, that doesn't work because there is a diverts attention. But somehow for us, it worked. So I don't recommend that everybody goes into that vertical. Maybe, if it works for you, that's great. But for us, it worked because of the roots that we had and low cost structure that we have, the operation structure and the mindset that we have.
I'm curious if there's some way that you would boil down your success to something where you'd say, like, if I look at the whole thing that we're doing, this is the thing that makes us really, really good at it. And it's been able to help us generate a business. I know it's going to be an oversimplified question in that there is not one thing, of course. But, you've got 45 years in this game. That alone separates you from almost everybody I talk to. Most people just don't have that kind of longevity in business. You referenced hard-learned lessons from bad years, starting Shop LC right before 2008 and the financial crisis. And so there's just this, it almost just feels like I'm nervous as I interview you that I'm going to ask the wrong question and not get you to the place that actually you would say, this is the thing that's most important to me. So this is the point of this question right now, is like, help me take the conversation to where you would say, this is really where this is one of the top 1 or 2 or 3 things or whatever that I feel like I understand deeply that really powers the success of VGL Group at this point, as best as you can boil it down. Like, that's really broad, but yeah.
Yeah. So number one thing that I attribute whatever little success I had is to being a constant learning. So be a student. So I've been constantly learning, reading. Every day I read a book. I did my MBA 20 years after.
Did you say every day you read a book?
Every day.
Like a full book?
A part of the book, a few pages of.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. Yeah, okay. Okay, all right. Okay.
So every day I read
going.
something. So learn something. Leadership, business strategy, e-com. So every day learning something new. I did my MBA 20 years after my undergrad. So where I thought it's necessary for me to get to the next stage, I went to Columbia University when I was 42, and I finished when I was 45. So constant learning is one thing that has worked for me. Second thing that worked for me is perseverance. So I don't take no for answer easily. I don't take failure as a stop. Failure is a learning opportunity. Learn from it. Shake your clothes, get up, and then get at it again. So I've had many failures. For example, from B2B to convert to B2C, it was hard. I had 7 failures before the 8th one became successful. So I don't give up easily. And third thing is to take care of your team members. Hire more than your requirement, and train people, coach people well, take care of them, but fail fast. If somebody is not working out, change respectfully, change with, give them a cushion, give them a good exit, but change fast if it's not working.
All right, let's take those in order. Those are great answers. And it is interesting how much of the things you're talking about are softer lessons. None of the 3 answers that you just gave are sort of like a business platitude. They're much more about you and about the way you're thinking about yourself and your personality and the way you show up in your business. And I respect your answer in the sense that I believe you when you say those are the things that have been most important to you. So let's try to pick them apart a little bit. So let's talk about learning. you mentioned one learning habit you do, and I'll say I've noticed this about you. It's another reason I wanted to have you on is that you've built this thing that's bigger than basically everybody I talk to in our space. Like there's almost nobody who's in that space, and yet I find that you present, Sunil, with a kind of humility and gentleness about your success that is really striking. One of my very favorite entrepreneurs I've dealt with is has been really successful. Has been a really high achieving person in life. Went to an Ivy League school, got to very high levels in his pre D2C career in the place that he was at before, has built a great D2C business. He is the most likely person I have ever been around to ask the question, what do you mean by that? I don't know what you're talking about in a meeting. And I've always thought that was probably those two things are probably connected, like that he has been so successful and he's so willing to tell you when he doesn't know something. And I noticed this about a post you made after being at E-commerce Fuel Live, where you were talking about how you had learned so much about D2C in that space. And all I could think when I looked at that is like, you've built a bigger business than probably everybody there. And here you are talking about all the things that you're learning from all these other people. And so I wonder what that is. Like, what are the actual practices that you're putting into place to cultivate that? So you said you read a little bit of a book every day. Let's get specific. What kinds of books are you reading? Is it all business books? Is there other stuff that you're getting in there? How do you choose which books you're learning from? Like, let's talk about your reading habits a little bit.
Yeah, so the books come my way. I don't go out really looking for books. So the books come way through the references, through the guides, through the board, our board members, my friends in the business. So books get recommended, and then which resonates with me, I buy them and keep them in my to-do reading list. And so the book I'm reading right now is Humanocracy by Gary Hamel. So that book I've read probably 3 times already. So this is the 4th time I'm reading. So this is an updated version, just came out. So Gary Hamel talks about how to make your organization bureaucracy-free. How to create, so we have a total about 3,500 people across the organization. So it's very easy for bureaucracy to set in, people to look up to me or to senior people for decision making, how to create an organization that is entrepreneurial, how to make them taking decisions themselves and make them part of the winning that happens within their areas. So that's a very impactful book that has impacted me and my organization quite a bit. And there are multiple books I look up to, but this is a book that is highly impactful for me and our company.
Do you find it has been, I mean, like how much time are you putting into reading in a day?
It's about an hour.
Okay. Is that at night? Is it during the workday? Where do you slot that in?
Most of the night.
At night. Do you take notes when you read?
Now, sometimes I do the action to-do list in my notes in my phone. So if there's a to-do list that comes to me, a strategic thought process that comes to me, or something I have to share with my team, I put the notes in my note, and then I would do that during my weekly feedback to the team. I send out emails every week to the senior management, and I put some snippets there, or during the quarterly strategy meeting, I would discuss more about it.
Do you find that it's hard to implement things that you're reading, or sometimes here's an experience I've had, right? I'll start reading something, I'll get really excited about it. I'll start telling everybody about it, including the people I work with. And then it just kind of dies out because, I think partly because I'm the only one who read it, right? So do you have other people say, hey, this is really good. Take these 5 pages and go read it, please. And let's really talk about how to do it. Like, how do you sort of turn that kind of stuff into action? Or is it more likely the case that you just sort of by continuing to have a habit of reading, it forms you and shapes you over time in a way that's like a little bit harder to track?
Goes both ways. So if something is very important, then I get people to read that area or that book. For example, Humanocracy, at least 50 people have read that book. I forced them to. It's not easy to read. So I kind of pushed it hard and had sessions on that, multiple sessions. They had to come prepared, and then put the action plan based around that, and then have those discussions preset. Okay, with how much interval we'll have the meeting about it, put the action plans, put the part of the KPIs. So we have balanced scorecard. So put within the balanced scorecard the measurables on that, so that people are held responsible for the actionables. So it's not easy. And just one more point to that. Let me just. So there's a conference in New York called WOBI, World of Business Ideas. So we go there. I've been going there for 25 years, every year in October, November. So more and more, I'm taking more people in the organization to the conference, because that's where we met Gary Hamel twice, and he spoke to the people, and we had one-to-one conversation with him. And then people hear directly from these people, the thought leaders. It's much more impactful than coming through me. So this year, November 2025, 25 of us will go to New York 2 days to attend the WOBI conference.
Quick note, and this is not an ad. When I asked Sunil at the beginning of this episode that about what I could promote for him and if there's anything there, he said, actually, the only thing that he really wanted to do was leave his email address. So it's Sunil, Sunil, at vglgroup.com. The link for that is in the show notes. And specifically, he wanted people to email him who were interested in working with and for him in VGL Group, specifically digital marketers. So if you are digital growth talent, digital marketing talent, and I know the viewers and listeners to this podcast, there's plenty of you among them, and you're interested in working with a guy like Sunil and a business his size, and it's really monster business, still growing fast in the midst of $240 million company on the large end. They also started another brand from scratch, so they have all kinds of different size of business in there to be working with. Digital marketing talent, reach out to Sunil at vglgroup.com. Send him an email, tell him you're interested in applying to work with him. Tell him I sent you as well, so that he knows where that you found him through. Yeah, that's it. Sunil at vglgroup.com. Reach out to him. How many conferences do you go to in a year while we're talking about learning?
So this kind of strategy conference, WOBI is one, and maybe one or two more. But WOBI is the most impactful. It's a very macro, very strategic level, very thought leaders. Some like Sheryl Sandberg would be there, or G chairman was there. So top level people are coming in. But then I would go to the e-com conferences. I would go to jewelry conferences. I would go to lifestyle product conferences. So I do maybe 8 or 10 conferences a year.
Okay, so that means a lot. That means you're putting in a lot. You're giving a lot of your time to learning. And I would just say your actions there are aligned with the thing that you just said was a value of yours. You're giving an hour a day to reading. You're giving 8 to 10 conferences a year. That's travel time. That's hard work. You live a lot of the year in India, I know, right? So it's like, it's not short travel time for you, to get to some of these conferences. I'm sure that's a long flight. I think that makes sense. It seems like you have decided you really do value just the continued intake of information, and so you're doing that. It's interesting. It's making me question my own information diet, actually. What about digital information? Do you make a habit of reading, Twitter or forums or just anything else, blogs, anything as part of that, or do you stay away from that shorter form content?
So I don't go to Twitter. I don't. I go to ECF forum from time to time. Mostly to reply on the emails that I get. If there's something that I can share, then I go there and share. But I do subscribe to some of the digital newsletters that I look through, and if there's interesting information, I go deeper into it, get my team to go deeper, and then we debate about it. So I do spend maybe half an hour a day to go through these newsletters and the forums and all put together.
It sounds like what you're saying is that what you really value is truth. It sounds like you value ideas a lot, and I think it can be popular almost to go the other way to say like, oh, who cares? Just action. But a little bit of what I hear you saying is like the idea matters, and getting clear about ideas matters. Do you think that's a fair way of describing what you're saying?
Absolutely. And if I need to grow, Andrew, it's important that I don't have any day job. My day job is to learn, to share that information with the team, grow the team. I do a lot of skip levels, so 3 or 4 hours a day goes for me to meet my team at multiple skip level down, be 3, 4, 5 level down in the organization, and to get ideas from them, share my thoughts with them, learn what their ambitions are, help them succeed in their career goals. So I share a lot of information with the team, learn from them, and grow the team to do the best that they can.
All right, I have many more questions about that, but I'm going to resist. Because I want to talk about perseverance. So that was your second answer. You said you think you don't take no for an answer very easily. Can you give me an example of a time where you didn't take no for an answer and it had a really big payoff in the business?
So just the fact that I'm an Ecom ECF member, or I was MDS member. So we've been investing in Ecom for a long time. So since we went retail 19 years ago, so some money was going into Google always, and then Meta started about 10, 12 years ago. But we never really made good ROI out of that. So 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, one of my business friend, he connected me to a mastermind. So I became part of that mastermind. Then through that, I came to MDS. Through MDS, I came to ECF. And I'm learning so much from ECF. And from ECF, I was connected to many other, but I haven't gone any other place because I believe there's so much to learn from ECF and to give back to the community. So I'm learning every day to make Meta work. So it's been now 2.5 years journey. I need to make Meta work. It's, out of 6 brands, it's already working for 3. For 3 brands, we still yet to make it work. So make it work means in terms of we need to make it scale. So to get to say $500,000 a month or $1 million a month spent on Meta, we are not there yet. We spend a couple $100,000 a month, but we need to get $1 million or above that per month. So that is where I am learning again and again and experiment, test, experiment. So this is my journey to learn and to implement in the business.
So it's like you're describing a combination of perseverance and learning there, which is like you have this goal, which is get Meta to $500,000 to $1 million a month in spend, and you are not going to be stopped until until that happens, right? Is that the way is that what you mean by that?
Yeah. So for each of the brands, so total we already spend about $8 million a year on Meta, but each brand must spend $500,000 or more, $500,000 to $1 million, to be able to scale the revenue, the D2C revenue. Our business still largely depends on TV. And I want to move it to D2C because TV is slowly slowing down a little bit. Although we still have a growth path within TV because we are still not fully distributed. But when you're looking long run, it'll slow down. So we have to find the way, mitigate that loss of audience into either digital or OTT. OTT means Roku or Fire TV or Apple TV. So that's another place we are investing heavily. We're currently investing about $250,000 a month into OTT, but we need to scale that much higher. Just to give an example, on TV, we invest about $3 million a month just for US brand. But we are nowhere close to that spend into OTT or Meta or Google.
Yeah. So but just while we're on the subject, with all of your Meta learning, well, I'm curious too, like, it's interesting that you think that it's your job as the CEO of the company to learn Meta and not like, I don't know, your head of digital's job or something like that. I think there's a sort of an ownership of that there. Like, how did you make that calculation? Because certainly you're not the go-to expert in your company on every detail of everything, right? You can't be. Your company's too big for that. So is that because you just came to the conclusion that Meta was just too important for the business and you therefore need to have expertise here?
No, this is a very good question, Andrew. I'm not there to learn Meta in detail because I can't. I don't have that aptitude. But I want to know enough to be able to hire the best people. Because all these last 15, 17 years, I was not hiring right people.
Okay, so the perseverance then is you're going to go learn everything you can until you solve that problem, basically.
Yes. Through the talent or through the partners, through the partnerships, whichever way, I need to find a way to get Meta, AppLovin, influencer, affiliate working for these 6 brands.
Yeah. So you're just going to be dogged about that. You're just going to say that you've identified that in the business, one of the core things that needs to happen is that your digital channels, Meta, and then also AppLovin and OTT, for example, need to be great, which means you then have to take it on yourself to figure out enough to be able to hire very well in those places, etc. Okay. I like that. Yeah, you learn enough about the business to understand sort of where the leverage point is, and then you apply yourself to that leverage point because it's too important to the success of the business not to. Yeah.
Another example of perseverance I gave you earlier, I failed 7 times in D2C. I tried D2C 30 years ago. Didn't succeed. And the final success came in 2009 when the US business, ShopLC, worked.
Is that just because the cost of failing is a lot lower than it just seems like the thing you're describing is just asymmetric bets. Like you can fail 7 times and win on the 8th, but that 8th win is so massive that it's almost like a poker player. Like it covers your bets basically for all the littler ones, right? I mean, I guess the example is venture. Basically, it's a venture mentality about it.
So partially venture and partially that we are a public company, we could raise money and invest into experimentation.
Yeah, via selling equity.
Yeah, we sold equity. So when we went public, and then also we sold equity later. So we had PIPE investment, this private investment public entity, where I raised about $75 million in 2004, 2005 timeframe. So that $75 million we invested into setting up businesses in UK, US, and Germany.
Okay, just for the sake of time, our last the last thing I wanted to ask you about was the third thing that you had attributed your success to, and I had it in my mind a second ago, and now it just escaped my brain. What was it? What did you? What was it? Oh, your people. Yes. Okay. What is the key to treating your team well? Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just going without your question. Go ahead.
How do you treat your people? Great. What is people will answer that question in their mind. For a little while, it was popular to answer that question with like snack rooms and ping pong tables, or like sometimes it was like health and wellness benefits. Sometimes it's just pure comp. What do you think is the key to treating people great?
So it's a comprehensive way you treat people. First of all, you treat them respectfully. Even if they are not working out, you be respectful, exit them respectfully. But during the time that they are with you, pay them well to the market, pay them bonuses, profit share, RSUs. We're a public company, we give RSU out. So treat them well, train them. Yeah. We have a process of training. Train them, coach them.
What's an RSU?
RSU is like ESOP, so restricted stock.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
In the public entity.
Thank you.
So top 250 people have RSUs in the company. They get every year. And then coach them, train them. So we have a process that everybody minimum would be 30 hours per year would be formally trained by an external trainer, or some form of training will be given to each and every employee. At senior level, it's 100 hours or more, but every person must be trained for their job and for the job next to them. Everybody has a career pathing already designed for them, top 3 levels at least. What is the next for them is already designed, and they're trained for their next phase of their career. And the succession planning is in place. Everybody, all 3 top levels have their successors defined in the company. And the successors know that they are potential successors for this particular manager. So the structure in the organization is pretty well defined, and the processes are there to take care of the people. And the biggest difference that I believe has happened is our 1-for-1 program, where we give out a meal for every piece we sell. So each employee of the company in India especially, and wherever foreign employees goes to India, they go to the kitchen and the school and distribute the meal by themselves. So that makes it real for them. In the US, we are part of the charities, and we go out and distribute the charity. For example, this Thursday, I'm going out and giving 2 hours in a local charity to pack the meals for the needy people. So we give out that we donate 2 hours every month for the charity, and then we connect to the charities by going to the places and connecting to those causes. So that makes a difference for the peoples to connect to the organization.
Yeah, I have a lot of follow-up questions to that, but because we're just about out of time, and I do want to just give you a couple more minutes to talk a little bit about that, because I know it's really important to the goal of the business. I relate very deeply to the way you've described the purpose that it gives to people and some of that. So maybe you could talk just a little bit more about that. I said it in the intro, but 57,000 meals per school day given out per school day. It's crazy by you guys. That is really extraordinary. What can you just tell us about that program, about why it's so important to you, and about sort of the role it plays in the life of the business and in your life as the CEO?
So 12 years ago, I was in this WOBI conference, and I heard Blake Mycoskie. He's the founder of Tom's Shoes. And his 1-for-1 program, how he described, really touched me and my colleagues. We were 8 of us at that time in New York Radio City Hall, and touched us. And Blake got standing ovation for his speech. And to me, this was a moment of reflection on what is the purpose of business. Is it just to make me financial free, or is it something more? And then the realization dawned on me that if we create a model where the business can help the community and also connect our employees and customers to that cause, it is a beautiful model that helps everybody, helps the shareholders like me, helps employee connect, helps customer connect, helps the community. The partners like that and appreciate that. The local governments, wherever we operate, they support it. So it's a kind of a positive cycle that moves the business forward. So that realization changed the whole organization's DNA from just shareholder interest. It changed over to the all stakeholder interest. And that has helped our growth substantially over the years. Helped me as a human become a more kind of settled and more grounded person.
Yeah, it seems like even if it didn't pay off business-wise, it was a big win, like you just described, and it sounds like it did as well. Sunil, it's really awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I appreciate it so much. I will definitely be reaching out again at some point because I have a lot of follow-up questions and of course, open invite anytime you ever want to come back. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Andrew. Good talking to you.
Thanks so much for watching or listening to this episode. If you didn't hear me say it earlier, you can email Sunil at Sunil, S-U-N-I-L, at VGLgroup.com, particularly if you're interested in working with VGL Group on the digital marketing, digital growth side of things. He specifically asked me if he said that was the thing he would like to promote the most. So shoot him an email, tell him I sent you. Really awesome guy. I loved that conversation, learned a ton from it. You can also reach out to me, podcasts@ajfgrowth.com, and find everything I'm doing at ajfgrowth.com, and follow me on X at Andrew J. Ferris. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're watching or listening, and like and comment and all those kinds of things. I would love any feedback you have about this particular episode and this particular interview. And there's all kinds of great stuff coming that you're not going to want to miss. So like I said, do subscribe. If you also are interested in working with AJF Growth when we are reopening for new clients next year, you can do that. Go to ajfgrowth.com, fill out the form there. Even if we can't take you on now, I may have a great recommendation for you for somebody to take on, or for somebody to help you grow your business. So I'd love to talk to you about that. There's an intake form there to tell me a little bit about your business, and then I'd love to get a conversation started. So ajfgrowth.com for all that. Thanks so much, like I said, for watching and listening. I'll talk to you next time.